For the second time in a week, ex-professional players who are now pundits are out in the media openly attacking, slandering, lying about Mark Goldbridge. Paraphrasing what they've said, he's either just a fan whose opinion shouldn't be taken seriously, or, as claimed here by the ex-Manchester United fullback, he's causing problems at Old Trafford. He's claiming again that old chestnut, that fake news story that he's a Nottingham Forest fan, attacking his manager and owners of a team that he doesn't even love. It's a disgrace that Mark Goldbridge gets the attention that he does, the views, has the wealth. We know that's what they're saying. But it's the second time in a week that he has been attacked. I have no direct dog in this fight, other than the fact that any YouTuber that is supporting this notion is either delusional or is acting in the same way, in my opinion, these pundits are. There is pure, unadulterated jealousy, hatred, and maybe even a sense of fear here. They fear Mark Goldbridge. They fear what he represents. And it is so key to me because we've seen this before. And yes, we talk about football on the football terrace, but we are fan media. And I will stand up for this industry. When you delve into what Paul Parker has said, by the way, hit the like button for us. Make sure you're subscribing as well. What Paul Parker said is crazy to me. He stated, and you can read this here, and I read it out to all of you. He stated that, speaking on a bonus code bets, I've never even heard of them, but fair enough. He says, I don't like what Mark Goldbridge is doing. It's a problem. Everyone has to make a living, but you have a very, very thick skin. You have to have a very, very thick-skinned to make money off the back of something you don't like. He has no relationship to Manchester United. He is a Nottingham Forest fan, and it's an incredible skill to do that, actually, to make money on the back of something you don't like. He's attacking the club, the manager, and the owners of a football club that he doesn't even love. He has no inner feelings with the club, and it's scary but incredible feeling to have to do that, invested in a club that you don't support. He said, but also that is what Man United are about. It's a club with a massive story, and it's a story that everyone tries to tap into and be part of. A lot of people are making money because Manchester United is a madness. One, they don't support Man United. And to be honest, two, they don't even like football. Now, what you've got to deep when he's saying this is exactly what my first thoughts. First of all, Mark Goldbridge is not a Nottingham Forest fan. He's proven that with sharing multiple pictures of his childhood in Manchester United kits. Fair enough, he doesn't have blogs and vlogs of himself as a child speaking about the club. Well, because the internet barely existed when he was a child and YouTube wasn't around. So you're not going to have that evidence. And I think Mark Goldbridge is so famous now that if he really wasn't a Nottingham Forest fan as a kid, people that he knew growing up would have outed him. Somebody by now would have come out and proven that he wasn't a Man United fan. And that simply hasn't been done. So that's got to be dropped straight away. But what this boils down to is jealousy. And go back to what was said here. There's a lot of people making money because Man United is a madness. And that is what this comes down to. These ex-pro pundits who used to be hugely popular, working in the mainstream, no disrespect to bonus code bets. I ain't heard of them. You probably haven't heard of them. That's where he's working now. He sees Mark Goldbridge with his own show on TalkSport, doing work with the likes of Ben Foster, who, in terms of ex-pros, is one of the most relevant, likable, famous ex-pros right now when it comes to content creating. He sees Mark everywhere with Paul, influence, and simply a man who's running some brilliant businesses and has changed his life. And people like Paul Parker are jealous of this. People like Danny Murphy, in my humble opinion, are, and it isn't money when it comes to Danny Murphy, are jealous that more people want to listen to what Mark's got to say than them. So they are lashing out. And what Paul Parker here has done has gone far too far with false accusations that he doesn't like or love the club. He's not a Man United fan, and he's doing it all for money. And the reason why this annoys me is because we've seen this playbook before. 2 to 3 years ago, multiple media outlets calling out AFTV. Ray Parlour accusing AFTV of wanting Arsenal to lose. Michael Richards claiming that the channel has put too much pressure on Arsenal and that's why they're bad. Simon Jordan saying that he cannot stand them. This led to fans chanting week in, week out, get AFTV out at the stadium, saying their toxic negativity is feeding the failure. Remember this? Remember this? Suddenly now, AFTV is around. It's still getting millions of views. It's still growing. In fact, the Robbie has grown. It's got DR Sports and much more now. Man's out here interviewing candidates to become Prime Minister of England. Arsenal are now doing well. Why suddenly is there no get AFTV out of our club? I thought AFTV would stop Arsenal from progressing. No, Arsenal were not progressing because Arsenal weren't being run right. Man United are not failing to progress because of Mark Goldbridge and because he has opinions. This here is fear that these ex-pro pundits that are boring, that nobody wants to listen to, who people feel are now becoming irrelevant, not all of them, but some of them, because this is their fear that they will become obsolete. How else am I going to earn any money? I don't have any other skills. What can I do if I'm not the person picked by Sky, by TNT Sports, Talk Sport, William Hill to speak football? That is all this is. And I will stand up for Mark because I'm in the same industry as him. And if Mark or AFTV are what they're accused of by these ex-pro pundits and some of the media outlets, then we're all that. And that's my fear here. Jealousy reigns because I've had people come for me saying, Terry, you said yesterday that Paul Parker stated that Mark shouldn't have a platform. Yes, I am stating that that is what is implied. I'm stating that is what is implied because why else do you complain about things? What are complaints? They are a protest. They are you voicing your frustrations to enact change. You stating that fan opinions don't matter or people are just out here making money off the club and they're a problem is you stating that you don't want them around. You're objecting to what they do. Why else do we complain? We only complain about things we don't want to exist or we don't want to happen. This is normal. And I got into an exchange today with a Man United YouTuber who's backing Paul Parker. And this is what worries me. He said to me, hey, Terry, just watched your latest video. You said that Paul Parker said Goldbridge isn't allowed an opinion because he's a fan. Simply not the case. He called out for many of his responses to United fans, called him out, but never said he isn't allowed an opinion. I stated that I then went on to say that I am stating that what he is saying, meaning implied. When you read Paul Parker's statement, for me, he is suggesting that Mark shouldn't have a say, make money, or be given a Man United platform, which is wrong. Tom here says, disagree. Never implied he shouldn't have an opinion. He said he didn't like him constantly bashing the club. Obviously, we deserve criticism, but the target treatment of individuals has rallied many up, and players will naturally stick together. And I just said to him, look, typically in life, when we comment on things we dislike, it's because we want them to be stopped, or maybe it's just me. He says, yes, but you can admit that he's gone over the top with his platform. And this is the problem, because Mark Goldbridge is massively famous now and he gets a lot of views. People and there's more people sharing what he's put out there. It's seen as more extreme. And I'll give you an example here. These are some of Mark Goldbridge's recent titles on his videos. McTominay Savior, Lucky United on the thumbnail. McTominay Masterclass here. Give him time. It's talking about Ten Hag and the Rashford situation. Take it or leave it. Qatar offers. Fairly neutral. The man who called me out on Twitter, these are his titles. Season over. Top 4 is over. We're getting worse. Damage control. Ten Hag's huge problem. Fix this mess. Now, let me just state, there's nothing wrong with this gentleman's YouTube channel, him having an opinion, his thumbnails or his videos. If that is what he thinks, if that is what he feels, he's publishing it. For me, I'm going to be blunt with this guy, Tom. I feel what he's seeing is, I want to be Mark. I want what Mark's got. And then when someone's attacking him, he sees it as, yeah, he's right. He's causing problems at the club. I'm not doing that. I'm trying to help the football club. I love the club more. That's how it reads to me. That's my opinion on what you're doing. This is what a lot of YouTubers don't understand. When you start attacking the industry and generally going after the big boys that you are envious of, you damage the industry and you lessen the chances of you progressing. You also, if we start canceling all these big people because they become too powerful, you also guarantee that if you continue to grow, you will be cancelled in the future for simply expressing the same opinions you have now. Mark Goldbridge is no different today in 2023 to what he was 8 years ago when he first started. The difference is now he talks to millions of people a day rather than 5 or 6 or 7 when he first started. And if one person 8 years ago a day was sharing your video, maybe nobody else would see it. But if 1 out of 10, so 10% was sharing it, and now you've got 1 million people watching you, you're getting 100,000 people share it. Therefore, it seems more extreme, but it isn't. It's about perspective. And I am sick to my back teeth of these ex-pro pundits and these media outlets attacking fan media, which they are copying week in, week out. It is an absolute abomination. And fair play to the likes of TalkSport, Sky Sports in recent years who are changing that, and they're having more and more influencers on. Yes, some of their hosts and pundits call it out still, but the mainstream media realize it needs us. And I say us as a collective. They don't necessarily need me, and I'm not too arrogant to think that. But I'm going to stand up for fan media because this is becoming an absolute joke. Lying about what we do, lying about how we feel about things, and simply showing your fear and jealousy based on the success that our industry, that, by the way, we created from nothing. We created this from nowhere, completely innovative. And all they want to do is shut it down. And for me, it's nothing short of a goddamn disgrace. Whether you agree with Mark's opinions or not is irrelevant. Implying, and I believe that's what he's done, is implying that Mark shouldn't have a platform, that he shouldn't be taken seriously because you don't think he loves the club enough. Absolute poppycock. Nonsense. For me, this is just a disgrace.